Have you ever imagined yourself becoming successful, wealthy, respected, or living a life completely different from the one you have today? Maybe you've pictured yourself standing on a stage, building a business, traveling the world, or proving everyone wrong. These dreams feel incredibly real. For a few minutes, you believe your future is already waiting for you. But then something strange happens. You close the video, put down the book, scroll through social media for another hour, and tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Eventually, years pass, and the dream remains exactly where it started. Inside your head, this isn't laziness. It's something much deeper. Psychology has a name for this hidden battle, and millions of people are trapped inside it without even realizing it. The human brain is an incredible machine, but it has one major flaw. It cannot always distinguish between vividly imagining success and actually making progress toward it. Studies have shown that when people visualize achieving a goal, the brain releases small amounts of dopamine, the same chemical associated with motivation and reward. For a brief moment, your mind experiences the emotional satisfaction of success without requiring any real effort. In other words, your imagination can trick your brain into feeling accomplished before you've done anything at all. That's why so many people become addicted to dreaming. Dreaming feels safe. It costs nothing. There is no rejection, no criticism, no failure. Inside your imagination, everything goes according to plan. Everyone admires you, every risk pays off, every obstacle disappears. But reality is different. Reality demands discipline, consistency, and uncomfortable action. And that's exactly where most dreams die. Many people believe they are waiting for motivation. In truth, they're waiting for certainty. They tell themselves they'll begin once they feel confident enough, skilled enough, or inspired enough. But psychology teaches us something surprising. Confidence is not the cause of action. It is the result of action. People don't become confident before they start. They become confident because they started despite being afraid. Think about a child learning to walk. Imagine if that child refused to stand until they were certain they would never fall. They would never take a single step. Yet adults often live exactly this way. They postpone their goals until they feel emotionally ready, not realizing that readiness is created through movement, not waiting. Fear disguises itself in intelligent excuses. I need more research. I'll start next Monday. I need the perfect plan. I'll wait until life becomes less stressful. Each excuse sounds logical, but together they form a prison. The brain loves certainty because uncertainty feels dangerous. Thousands of years ago, uncertainty could mean death. Today, uncertainty usually means starting a business, applying for a new job, creating a YouTube channel, or speaking in public. Yet the ancient survival system inside your brain reacts as if your life is at risk. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts become negative. Suddenly, doing nothing feels safer than taking one small step. This is called the comfort zone. Ironically, the comfort zone rarely feels comfortable. It slowly transforms into frustration, regret, and quiet disappointment. But because it's familiar, the brain keeps choosing it over growth. Another psychological trap is something called identity conflict. Many people secretly believe they don't deserve the life they dream about. They may say they want success, but deep inside, they still see themselves as ordinary, unlucky, or incapable. Every action they take is filtered through that identity. Someone who believes they are not disciplined will unconsciously avoid disciplined behavior. Someone who believes they are always unlucky will notice every failure and ignore every opportunity. Your identity becomes a prediction that slowly fulfills itself. That's why changing habits without changing identity rarely lasts. You can force yourself to wake up early for a week. You can exercise for 10 days. You can work hard for a month. But if your subconscious still believes you're someone who quits, eventually your behavior returns to match that belief. The most successful people don't simply have better routines. They have a different identity. They don't wake up asking whether they feel motivated. They wake up because that's simply who they are. There is another hidden reason people dream without acting. Perfectionism. Most people think perfectionism means having high standards. Psychology reveals something darker. Perfectionism is often fear wearing an expensive disguise. If your work isn't perfect, someone might criticize it. If your business fails, people might laugh. If your first video gets only 10 views, you'll feel embarrassed. So instead of risking imperfect action, the perfectionist keeps planning forever. The notebook fills with ideas. The computer fills with unfinished projects. The mind fills with fantasies. But the world never sees any of it, because unfinished dreams cannot be judged. Unfortunately, they also cannot change your life. Social media has made this psychological trap even worse. Every day, people watch entrepreneurs becoming millionaires before 30, fitness influencers transform their bodies. Content creators gain millions of followers. Luxury lifestyles appear everywhere. Your brain begins comparing your behind-the-scenes reality with someone else's highlight reel. Instead of feeling inspired, many people become overwhelmed. The goal suddenly feels impossible. And when a goal feels impossible, the brain often chooses the easiest escape. Procrastination. Procrastination isn't always about avoiding work. Sometimes it's about avoiding painful emotions if starting makes you anxious, if trying makes you feel inadequate, if failing threatens your identity. Then delaying the task temporarily removes those uncomfortable emotions. That's why procrastination feels strangely relaxing in the moment, but the relief never lasts. Eventually guilt arrives, then shame, then self-doubt. The cycle repeats itself until years disappear. The saddest part is that many intelligent people stay trapped here for decades. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they mistake thinking for progress. They consume books, watch motivational videos, take courses, create detailed plans, and convince themselves they're moving forward. But knowledge without execution becomes another form of entertainment. Your future is not built by what you know. It is built by what you repeatedly do. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The biggest obstacle between you and your dreams isn't your lack of intelligence, your background, your age, or even your circumstances. It's the version of yourself you've become comfortable protecting. Every time you avoid taking action, you're not just delaying success. You are reinforcing an identity. You're silently telling your brain, "I'm someone who dreams, but never acts." The frightening part is that the brain believes whatever you repeatedly prove through your behavior. Psychologists call this self-reinforcement. Every action or inaction strengthens a neural pathway. Skip one workout and your brain learns skipping is normal. Delay one important task, and procrastination becomes slightly easier the next time. Repeat this pattern for months or years, and it stops feeling like a choice. It becomes your personality. But here's the good news. The same brain that trapped you can also set you free. You don't change your life by making one giant decision. You change it by making hundreds of small decisions that slowly rewrite your identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, your brain collects evidence that you are becoming someone different. That's why successful people don't obsess over motivation. They obsess over consistency. Motivation is emotional. Consistency is psychological. One disappears when life gets difficult. The other survives because it no longer depends on how you feel. Think about an airplane leaving the runway. For the first few minutes, it uses the most fuel because overcoming gravity requires enormous effort. But once it's in the air, maintaining speed becomes much easier. Your goals work exactly the same way. The hardest part isn't building momentum. It's creating it. Most people quit before they ever experience that shift. Another hidden psychological trap is something called future self-illusion. Your brain naturally imagines that the future version of you will be stronger, more disciplined, and more motivated than the person you are today. You say things like, "Next month I'll start. Next year I'll finally change. After things calm down, I'll focus." But the future version of you doesn't magically appear. When tomorrow arrives, it's still today's you making today's decisions. If you can't make one disciplined decision today, there's no reason to believe you'll suddenly make 50 disciplined decisions next year. The future isn't a rescue plan. It's simply today's habits repeated over time. Another reason people remain inactive is fear of losing their identity within their social circle. Imagine someone who has always been known as the funny friend, the quiet employee, or the person who never takes risks. The moment they begin changing, people notice. Some will laugh, some will doubt them, some will even try to pull them back to the old version they recognize. This creates psychological resistance. Many people would rather remain accepted than become successful. They choose familiar disappointment over unfamiliar growth because rejection hurts. But here's what psychology also teaches us. The people who criticize your growth are often protecting themselves. Your progress reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your courage challenges their comfort. That's why resistance often increases the closer you move toward meaningful change. Success isn't just about building better habits. Sometimes it's about surviving other people's opinions. There's another behavior almost every dreamer experiences. They confuse preparation with progress. They spend months designing logos, watching tutorials, buying expensive equipment, taking another online course, reading one more book, waiting for the perfect moment. Preparation feels productive because it removes the anxiety of actually being judged. But preparation without execution becomes sophisticated procrastination. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards finished work. An imperfect project published today is worth more than a perfect project that never leaves your laptop. Now ask yourself one question. How many dreams have you postponed because you wanted everything to be perfect? How many opportunities disappeared while you waited for confidence? How many years have been quietly traded for comfort? These questions aren't meant to make you feel guilty. They're meant to wake you up, because awareness is where transformation begins. The most successful people aren't fearless. They're simply willing to feel fear without obeying it. They understand something most people never learn. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't think your way into a new life. You behave your way into one. Every author begins with an empty page. Every entrepreneur starts with uncertainty. Every athlete begins as a beginner. Every successful creator once published something imperfect. Nobody escapes the uncomfortable beginning. The difference is that winners stop negotiating with themselves. When it's time to work, they work. When it's time to learn, they learn. When it's time to fail, they fail, and then continue anyway. That is psychological resilience. And resilience is more valuable than talent. Talent may open a door. Resilience keeps you walking after everyone else turns back. So if you're someone who dreams of becoming financially free, building a business, growing a YouTube channel, changing your health, or creating a completely different life, stop asking yourself whether you're ready. Readiness is an illusion. Ask yourself something far more important. What is the smallest action I can complete today? Not tomorrow, not Monday, not next year, today. Because every extraordinary life is built from ordinary actions repeated long enough. Your dreams don't disappear overnight. They fade quietly through daily neglect. But they can also come alive through daily action. One choice, 1 hour, one decision at a time. Years from now, you'll either tell people about the dream you once had, or you'll be living the life you once imagined. The decision doesn't belong to your circumstances. It doesn't belong to luck. It doesn't belong to other people. It belongs to the person staring back at you in the mirror. The question is no longer whether you have big dreams. The question is whether you're finally willing to become the person those dreams have been waiting for. If this message challenged the way you think, don't let it become another video you simply watch and forget. Apply one idea today, because knowledge changes nothing until action begins. And remember this, people who dream big aren't rare. People who act despite fear are. That's where extraordinary lives begin.